Okay, looks like we are finally live. It's correct. Thank God. What a mess. Oh my God. This was not easy. This was a definite mess. I can't believe I went through this. Not again. Not again am I going to trust YouTube and, their new system of things. It is actually horrible when it comes to live stream. It is totally convoluted, and they really have to fix that. They have to fix it really a lot, because I did everything that the tutorial said to do, and it totally messed me up. It was horrible. And these live streams are so important to me, and for this to happen is absolutely ridiculous. I went ahead and edited everything. So let's see if I could fix this. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys are gonna actually find me over here. I did put in a new link. Hey Gloria, how you doing? You actually found me. How you doing? YouTube messed me up something horrible. It might just be a couple of people today. So bad. So last time I trust YouTube, they have a new way. It's supposed to be improved, whatever, total disaster. But we're going to go forward anyway, so that's okay. So I don't know how many people. How did you find me? The link on the YouTube page? Okay, cool. So we're painting Salma Hayek today, as you can see. I hope you're doing good, Gloria. How's everything going? Let's see. I am going to go and pull up my reference of Salma. Okay, so I have... Oh, cool. So it did pop up. That's good. So hopefully they'll see it too. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Don't trust, Steve, YouTube has the new improved YouTube Studio. Don't trust it. It'll destroy you. It's so buggy, and, it's horrible. But thanks, guys, for coming and finding me. And you too, Rick, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm okay, my friend. Thank you so much. And let me go to the right screen here so I can see you guys talking. Let's see. All right. So I am just going to go here and paste. And then I should see you guys talking. Okay, so we're almost ready to go ahead and start painting. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Good to see ya. Salma is amazing, Gloria. I love her too, And so, yeah, she's just really fantastic. I had a crush on her since Dusk Till Dawn. That's enough said with that movie, right? That was something else. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the link, and okay, so you guys are definitely finding me here. So I think I have to hit refresh. Perhaps that's it. Okay. Wow, this is so ridiculous. And yeah, so you guys who find me, God bless you. There's not going to be many of yous because I don't got time to unravel YouTube's logic. I just put down links that's going to send people astray again. But you know what? I just can't. If you guys find me, you find me today. But this is going to be fun. No matter how many people are here, we're going to be going in with the medium mixture. When I go into medium mixture, I like to go with a two airbrush system. So I will have the medium mixture, and I'll have a light mixture airbrush going at the same time. And what that does, it enables me to go back rather seamlessly between the medium mixture and dark mixture, and not try and fake it with the medium mixture when the light mixture is definitely the way to go with the value. So you never ever want to you just never ever want to compromise when it comes to that. No cutting down steps or anything, because it really is just going to hurt the artwork in the long run. You know, in those cases where you should have gone light and you went dark and now you have nowhere to go. So that's probably, hey Wendy, how's it going? Good to see you, John. You guys, so far so good. Just give me a moment. I'm just going to go to Facebook real fast and get rid of those links because I'm sending people astray. I sure am. Look at that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just, I'm just going to look for this. Okay, all right, now I got it. So now I have the live stream. I can see me, I can see you guys, and now I can go ahead and correct the links, and I'll do that real fast, guys. Thanks for your patience on this. We definitely can thank YouTube and their new improved YouTube studio. Okay, so now I have the correct link set up. Almost. Edit post. Okay. It's just one of those days where whoever's meant to be here is going to be here, so okay, look at that, a little bit of ink got on there, but it's over in the dark area, no sweat. So we always start with our light mixture, as always, so we're just going to come in with the light mixture, guys, and let's see. Alright, so now that we have everything pretty much set up, let me just lighten her up a bit. There we go. And let's see if we could start working on some of the darker areas with the light mixture. But like I said, we're going to come in with the medium mixture in a few moments. A few minutes, I would say. Okay, now we're doing okay. So when I want a gradation, I just increase my distance, and then I get that dark to light gradation. You know, once you learn that distance is your friend when it comes to airbrushing, it really opens a lot up for you. It makes life a lot easier. So definitely always paint in 3 dimensions. Over here it's much darker than here. And what you want to do is you want to gauge your values from your light value to your darker value, which is inside this hair mass here, getting a lot of shadow from this hair mass over here. I'm going to pretend those little hairs aren't there because in the early going you don't want to get confused with detail. Detail comes later. So yeah, YouTube has this new YouTube studio and it really screws you up, you know, and I'm trying to make it easier for everyone to just click a link and go, but I don't think it's gonna happen until they straighten up their act, you know. Oh, thank you, Gloria. I appreciate that. I love painting Salma Hayek. I've done so many paintings of her. Every time it's just a nice experience. She's half Lebanese. I did not know that. Half Mexican, half Lebanese. Hey, what's up, Mike? How's it going today? And you know, what I like to do when I paint is I like to move around. And you always want to move around, keep moving. Don't stay in one spot. I know there's a white of the eye over here, but we're not going to be concerned with that. We are basically just going to look at what we're seeing and try to understand what's happening. And we'll see that the white of the eye on this side is pretty much covered by a shadow. Oh, great, Mike, good to see you. And so what we're going to do is, and then we come in with the dark of the hair. We'll do that shortly. I don't want to come with the dark of the hair too soon. It would throw off the values. You want to ease into those values, right, guys? You know? So I made pancakes for dinner tonight. You guys ever do that? Have breakfast for dinner? That was a lot of fun. Even though it's just me, you gotta have fun when you're alone, right? And this way you know how to have fun when you're with somebody. So that's what I'm concentrating on. You know, having fun by myself. Not because I want to be by myself, but you know, if you find yourself alone, then it's always good to try and make the best of it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to continue sketching as if we were working with a pencil. Is the same way. Breakfast is right all the time. That's great, Steve. Yes, Gloria, and that's true. You know, it's you have to make the best of things, and that's when we find balance. Is to try and find the evening out of everything. I think I learned that from Cobra Kai, the new show that's on Netflix. It's so fantastic. I love it. Oh, great, your MRI. It's a shame it's a long wait, but I'm glad you got your appointment, Mike. Definitely. Now, I want it to be much lighter than here, so I'm just going to increase my distance. And as I increase my distance, you'll see I'm getting a very, very light even. I'm about 5 inches from the surface as I'm doing that. Now it's a little bit darker over here. And then, so it's almost like we're sculpting. And so we're looking and we're sculpting. Oh, me too, Gloria. Definitely. Definitely. And so there we go. And so with the light mixture, we're just getting the sort of the blueprint of where we're going to go when we go darker. So I went for a really nice walk actually before dinner, and it was really interesting. You know, you definitely can feel the change in the air. You know, even though it's just September, there's definitely a change out there, and that's exciting. As everyone knows, I'm not a big fan of the summer. I mean, I think it's great, but I think you have to be in a certain mindset to really enjoy the summer. And I wasn't there. The gym was closed, all that. So, Wendy, how you been feeling? Wendy suffers from migraines, and I feel so bad about that. But hopefully you're doing better. And And so remember, what we do on one side, we have to do on the other side as well, right? So let's pay attention to this side. And you don't want to stay too long in a certain area. If you do, we run the risk of staining the paper. So you want to let the ink catch up to the surface. And this is true if you're working in acrylic or anything else like that. You always want to let the paint catch up to the surface. You don't want it to pool up, you know. Think of paint, and I explained this to one of my students just recently. Think of the surface as the ground and this as rain. And you know, like when you have a normal rainstorm, the ground soaks it up. But when you get too much rain, all of a sudden the ground's not soaking it up and it starts puddling on the surface. And that's when you get the stains, and that's when you get the spidering. So you have to give the paper a chance to absorb that water. Just like you gotta give the ground a chance to absorb the rain. And that's why fast rainstorms might have the same amount of rain, but you'll have really bad flooding if it happens all at once. So that same principle is going on with the airbrushing. So let the ground catch up to the rain. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to put that in my book because I think that's a really good analogy. I think a lot of airbrush teachers have a hard time explaining spidering, and I think that's the best way. You know, metaphors is a wonderful way to explain what's happening. Hey Brad, good to see ya. So sorry about that mess today, but we'll blame that on YouTube. They have this new YouTube studio which is completely inefficient. I really hope they fix it. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate it. And I think analogies like that is really needed in the airbrush world because it's all this like mystery and everything like that. And I really think stuff like that is really going to help new people to airbrush and get a handle on it. Because the concepts are so alien, you know. I mean, how many things are likened to painting it in airbrush? It's such a one-off, right? It's such an anomaly to everything else. Oh, you have a headache. I'm so sorry about that. Oh wow, so sad about those kittens. Now I'm going to balance this out by establishing the hair just a little bit. And because right now we have a lot of things going on in the face, and so we'll see that if we balance it out, the face won't look so dark. Especially when we come in with the darks of this part of the hair. And like this looks really dark, don't worry, it's going to lighten up. But what I want to do is I want to get those really dark areas first. Now I'm not doing dagger strokes, I'm just going back and forth. If I did dagger strokes it would look uneven, but I'm just going back and forth, no daggers. I don't mind overspray on this side because this is a very obscure the area, you know. And we're just going to keep with this hair, and then we'll darken as we go. So I have a very strong drawing underneath, which really helps, that's for sure. I'm going to use my freehand shield, or you guys always know what I'm going to say. Perpendicular and not parallel. There we go. So I don't think Willie made it from the other live stream, unfortunately. There we go. So we want to use our freehand shield. Make sure you wipe it in between. Notice on my freehand shield that all of this is taped, all these little holes. Otherwise I'm going to have a nice little stencil. So always make sure you tape up those negative spaces. Those negative spaces, I think they're, you know, I don't like them, that's all I have to say. I don't like the negative spaces in the freehand shields. I guess they're not designed with me in mind. That's the most diplomatic way of saying it, right guys? I'm getting better, right? I'm going to be diplomatic. Wow, it burned. Oh my goodness, that was scary. Hey Lee, you made it back. How you doing? So sorry about all this, and thank you so much for following, and so sorry YouTube's having trouble with their, or maybe it's me deciphering their program, but at any rate, you know, I've been doing live streams for 3 years, and you know, I tried using their new YouTube studio for live streams, and it was an utter disaster, let me tell you. So I'm so glad you made it. Oh, fantastic. So you got some work done as well. Great, Lee. Efficiency is something I'm working on, my friend, and I want to get better, and so that's what I'm working on. When you're working, don't be afraid to use the pencil, okay? The pencil is definitely your friend. It's the one tool that we are most familiar with. So you want to make sure you get this negative space. And let's paint in Salma's neck here. A beautiful neck. Use our freehand shield, perpendicular and not parallel. The light mixture is really light. Everything's going to look dark. I'm just sculpting the hair. That's all I'm doing right now. I'm not getting involved in little hairs in that trap, right? I'm just working on the large shapes and only the large shapes. We got a lot of large shapes down here. Oh, wow, John. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. And, John, great artwork you're doing. Unbelievable. Really love it. Despite everything going on with YouTube, we have a healthy live stream going on right now. And of course, back to the pencil, we will continue here. Just make sure we got everything correct. We have this beautiful dark going on over here. Now we got some lights over here in the hair, so we're just going to be very weary of going in those areas where the hair has a blast of light right there. So we're just going to be a little careful of that. Let's move that down. Okay, so we have a dark around here. See where there was a little bit of ink splattered over here? We're just going to paint around that, no problem. Oh, okay, great. So you're not this week. That's great. Little vacation, John? Is that what's happening? I mean, Lee? Go, just pull that dark. One second rule, always in effect, guys. And don't rush. If you find yourself rushing when you're painting, just slow it down and take a deep breath, reassess, ask yourself, why are you rushing? And then you could say, all right, the reason why I'm rushing is not valid, so just slow things down. And I think that's why I started working on the hair a little bit, because I just decided that it was much better to slow it down. Hey, what's up, Bill? Good to see you, man. That was a really nice portrait of a cat I seen not too long ago. Very good job, sir. Okay. Now, should I work on the shirt for a little bit? Yes. Let's just get that established. Whoop, pull her down. There we go. I think once we establish the larger shapes, things will get a lot easier, and we'll be able to concentrate a little more on individual parts. But it's really important to get the larger shapes established first. So this is only part 2. So I think we can definitely wait a little while longer before we go into the light mixture, the medium mixture, so that's okay. So Chris is a new owner of an Extreme Patriot arrow, and that's really cool. And we did a little customization of that for him, and so I'm excited to see what he thinks. He also has a Micron, so it will be a really nice comparison. I always like getting comparisons of my favorite airbrush to the Micron. Bring this dark down. I'm increasing my distance because I want a smooth transition. Even when you're doing large areas, you definitely want to make sure you're doing the 1 second rule. Very important. I'm going to squint my eyes so this way I see the large shapes. If I'm looking at detail, I'm not going to see the large shapes. And that's something I was taught in art school by Harvey Dinnerstein, Erwin Greenberg. You know, those amazing teachers I was blessed to study with in New York City. And they would say, squint your eyes. And if a kid had glasses, they'd say, take your glasses off. And that's how I want you to block in the model. So this is very much like a block in, as you see here. And let's see. Oh yeah, you got plenty of time to use that, you know. Love to hear, you know, what you have to say when you get used to it. I think most airbrushes, you definitely have to get used to them. I know at the first I didn't like my Extreme Patriot arrow, but I had to get used to it and understand it. And that was very important. Okay, so as you see, things are looking a little more full, and now there is a little part of her beautiful hand. That's not much of a hand showing though. It's right here. And let's see if we see more of her hand here. Nope, we just see this part of her hand, just like that. It's mostly obscured by her hair. And let's see if this comes out like this. And since we got a little pink little spot there, we're just going to make it work, and we're just going to cover that up. Just extend that hair over there. Hey, what's up, Andre? Good to see you. So cool to see you. I love the Microns. I think Microns are great, Andre. They're fantastic. But this is my airbrush of choice. So if you're interested, I'll tell you why I prefer this airbrush over the Micron. Now that's on my personal, but as you can see, the Micron is, I did a video on it. I used the Micron for many years. I love the Micron, but if you want to know why I use this airbrush, I'd be glad to share it with you. Okay, so now what we can do is we can start doing a little more detail. And we're going to go in with the medium mixture a little bit. And hey, what's up, Bill? Good to see you. So glad you're here, my friend. So I have my second Extreme Patriot arrow. See, that's Extreme Patriot arrow number 2 has the medium mixture. And so that's really good. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to go into her eyes and really, and I know you guys love it when I do my close-ups, and let's make this happen. So with the medium mixture, it's going to seem really dark. Reason number 1 why I like the Extreme Patriot, you're looking at it. it has less spidering than the custom micron. One second rule is definitely going to, yes, definitely. It definitely can do anything that the micron can do. Now you can see how small this detail is. Now this eye is about less than an inch, and I'm doing this line here. This pack valve is a way to adjust the airflow, so you can actually micro adjust to limit the amount of spidering. So you see that, and now we're in the medium mixture. I mean, this is thinner than a mechanical pencil, which is really good. Okay, so now I'm just going to show off, and I'm going to do some eyelashes. Like I said, this eye is about an inch. And I don't recommend this airbrush just because of any other reason that I think it's $100 airbrush that works like a $500 airbrush. See that little bit right there? It might look like there's a little bit of spidering. That's not going to show up to the naked eye. But even when you have something beautiful like this, you still have to make sure that you're careful when you do the 1 second rule. I'm going to do some detail on this eyebrow here. And detail is not individual hairs. Detail is looking for the lights and darks that are in the shape of the eyebrow. And Rome isn't built in a day, so you don't want to get it all at once. You just want to get a sense of it and move on. There we go. And of course, let's get the lights and darks inside this eyelid here. Big shapes first, little shapes later. And so look how that translates. Look how fast I was able to do that with this particular airbrush. And it's not $450. There we go. And let's look at it as a whole and see where we can darken up a little bit. We'll go back in with the airbrush. Let's go work on eye number 2. So any questions about the Extreme Patriot Arrow and any reservations, you guys? Oh, that extra large trigger had to go immediately, Andre. I got rid of that so fast. That was, I think that's an idea founded in, you know, when they do the models and everything, when they paint the models. But as far as, you know, for professional airbrushing like this, and definitely I replaced it with a Sotard trigger. So that was pretty, once I did that, it really came to life for me. It was really a fantastic decision. Okay, here's eye number 2. So yes, this is a good time to ask questions about the Extreme Patriot Arrow and why I feel dollar for dollar there's nothing close to it. Now this second eye really is very nondescript. It's very much in the shadows. So the contrast is really low. You're not getting the beautiful contrast that you have in the eye on the left, on her eye on the left. And it sort of disappears into the dark of the hair here. Yes, exactly. That's the same trigger. The great thing about these particular about Badger is that all the parts are interchangeable. So if you find a better fit from, let's say, you know, another Patriot 105, you can just go ahead and put that right in there. Like, all the Badger triggers definitely are interchangeable, which is great. I like the Sotard trigger, but really it doesn't make too much difference. But the Sotard trigger is really nice. I think, you know, they're only like $4, so it's really great. If you have another Badger lying around, just take the trigger out of there and put in your Extreme Patriot Arrow. You can do that. But they're only like $4, $5 at most. And see, there's a lot of shadow here in the white of her eye here. And then her lower eyelid is very dark. And we're going to go ahead and establish that lower eyelid right now. As you can see, I'm just lifting the airbrush away from the surface of the paper to get lighter in gradations. And let's work on her eyebrow. Oh, to make a trigger shorter, you would have to have a machinist, I think. That would be the best route to go, Bill. So I think if you went to a machinist, they can probably do it for like $10. I was thinking of doing that myself just to see what it would feel like. I'm going to keep this very dark. And then the dark of her hair here. Let's establish the really dark of her hair. And so we zoom out, we'll see we made progress. See that? And actually we don't see her too much of a contrast between the eyelid and the iris right now. Oh, so Steve, you found the high roller trigger uncomfortable too. Yeah, me too. I swapped it out immediately. Oh, the Omni trigger. I like that one as well. Hey, Steve. How you doing, Mr. Johnson? Good to see you, sir. So Salma has a lot of hair here. So we're going to work on Salma's hair. Over here it's pretty dark. And remember, I'm in the medium mixture now. We'll do the perpendicular and not parallel. I even have to remind myself of my rules sometimes. Because there really are. I mean, rules are meant to be broken, but they're really good principles to adhere to most of the time. There are exceptions to every rule. So as you can see, well, thank you. I really appreciate that, Steve. Yeah, Salma is a beautiful, beautiful lady. Oh my God. It would be such an honor if she was watching this. One of these days, the people I'm painting, they're going to show up on the live stream. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to have 40,000 subscribers. There we go. At least one could dream, right, my friends? Mr. Steve MacGyver. So why are you guys, oh, are you going to include the snake from Dusk Till Dawn? Oh, I would love to. Everyone knows the snake dance, right? Ah, the snake dance. I don't want to get too involved in thinking about the snake dance. Oh my God. I think I did hashtag her. I'm going to again. I'm going to hashtag this on Twitter. So that's a great idea, Steve. Thank you. You guys have the best ideas for me, and I appreciate that. I love your feedback and all the positivity I get from you all. It really means a lot to me. So I have a very humble live stream, a very humble channel, but I keep working at it, you know, I keep going, and they always say, fake it until you make it, and that's what I'm doing. Acting like my channel is huge, and treating it as a business, and, you know, when I do make it, I'll be prepared. Like I said, it's a very humble channel, very small. Steve says that's one of his many moments. Very cool. Steve, you have many moments, my friend. That's true. So you see, once we darken it, what looked dark here on this cheek all of a sudden lightened up. Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to let Steve answer that question. I can answer that question, Andre, but Steve definitely answer that question. Hey Mark, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here, Mark. Thank you so much for stopping by. See, you guys come by and you hang out with me, and that's just so great. And I appreciate your time, Steve. Steve and Mark and everybody. Gloria and Wendy. All you guys are just fantastic. But you don't need to hear. You don't need me to say it. You guys know about that already. You guys know how fantastic you are already. Okay, so the quick answer for why we take off the tips of the airbrush, the protecting things here, because the risk outweighs the advantage. The risk is that you can bend your needle. The advantage is that you can get incredible detail. When you have that protection on, it's going to lower your detail quite significantly. And so that's really something that you eventually you'll get rid of the tip when you have more confidence that you're not going to bend your needle. But don't worry, you'll still bend your needle every now and then. But that's why you always have backup needles, right? So yeah, you see how just slowly Salma is coming together. We're not in any rush. We can do part 7, we can do part 8, we can do part 10, it doesn't matter. Oh, thanks, 17, that's cool. So thank you so much for that, Bill, for hitting that like button and leaving that message. I appreciate it. And so Mark says he loves my work. Thank you, my friend. An affiliate link for the substrate. Now I want you to go on blick.com. They have it there in the best price. So it's not an affiliate link, and I really appreciate that so much, asking for that. So it's Blick Art, right? And the paper that you need, I'm writing it down here, I'm putting it in the comments. It is Colorline paper by Canson. It's 184 pounds, and the color is pebble gray. And you want to get a 10-pack of the larger size. I believe it's something like 18 by 21 or something like that, 21 inches. So that would be your best value, and you get 10 of them, and then you can cut them down to any size you want. And I think that's the best way to go, Mark. So yeah, definitely do that. It's not an affiliate link, but they pack it really well in these like really large boxes. It's really fantastic. And so if you get a 10-pack, they're going to arrive perfect. And you just cut them down. And if you have any questions, you let me know. Blick always has sales and everything. Mark, are you here in the States, or are you international? If you're international, I could help you out there. So let me know. I always try to help out my international peeps. Oh, California, so Blick will send that to you, yeah. And as Andre says, they're really fast. And you can pick up some erasers or something while you're at it to get the free shipping. Definitely. And I like to cut it down to 8.5 by 11. I just like the size rather than 8 by 10 or 11 by 14. For me, it just seems so right, you know. So it looks like I'm still here with my medium mixture. Oh, you ordered 2 sheets from Blick, and the thing that was packed was like sheets of gold. Yes, exactly. They pack it so perfectly, don't they? Now, Blick does charge you a packing fee, so be aware of that, because they realize that you know, if the paper comes damaged, it's no good to you, and you're just going to return it. So they pack it like very expensive, a lot of dunnage and everything like that. So yes, and also if you want to know what I use the white, so if you go back to part one or any of the part ones of any of my live streams, you'll see I use Drew Blair's 50/50 illustration white, and I mix that 1-to-1 with the 4012 reducer. The 4012 reducer, just make sure you have really, really good ventilation and you're wearing a mask, okay? This stuff is not the healthiest stuff in the world, but if you prepare and you make those preparations, those safety preparations, you'll be in very good shape. Just taking a water break. So this is a very interesting live stream, wasn't it, guys? I mean, let's go back in with the light mixture. See, someone asked, why do you go with the 2 airbrush system, Tim? Because I like cleaning more airbrushes at the end of the day. Just kidding. Actually, I like being able to go from the light mixture to the medium mixture and vice versa. The two that are next to each other, the light and the medium, in the later stages I like to use the medium and the dark. So you want to be able to have that freedom to move about, because you'll see things that only the lighter value or the darker value that you're working on is going to work. You don't want to go, what if you refuse to wear a mask? Oh man, I'm not touching that one, my friend. So coming in with this light, beautiful light mixture, and I'm sculpting her hair right now. That's all I'm doing, just sculpting. Lee, how's it going? How are you, sir? Having the needle cap can cause air turbulence. Yes, very true, which could affect airflow and the direction of the paint. He modified his with the 2 prongs that are longer than the needle for some protection. That's very smart. That's great. Uh-oh, Andre. That's funny. Yes, masks are so touchy right now. I mean, it's a very touchy topic, isn't it? So I'm afraid to even go there, my friends. But that's funny, guys. You guys crack me up. Never be in a rush to get anywhere. You know, you'll get there. Before you know it, you'll be signing your name on the painting. But you have to just be patient, and we have to sculpt her, right? We have to feel her turning. And now we get the large shapes, and then we'll do the smaller, more intricate shapes as we go. And here, watch, here's the pack valve, and I'm just going to adjust it, put a little bit more air in there, because I already have my Mac valve set to the ballpark of where I have it. My compressor's at 25, and now here I could just micro adjust. So, you know, it really is fantastic. There's no better way to control the airbrush that I know just yet, and that's why, another reason why I love this airbrush. And I mentioned it's about $100 with my 15% off discount. And if you are interested in purchasing the Extreme Patriot Arrow, I have a code that gives you 15% off, guys. That's really good. That's like an employee discount. I'm not an employee, but it's just a great discount. 15% off. And the code is Timothy PSA. So if you use the code Timothy PSA, and that's at www.usairbrushsupply.com, And yeah, and you will get that discount. So that's really good. That's a live stream that actually that's another painting I'm working on. We'll go back here. There we are. The discount is till further notice, so you have time, definitely. So actually, I think that discount will be there for a very long time. So no rush, no pressure sales on that, Andre. You take your time. You have any questions, you let me know. No impulse buys, you know. I think an airbrush is something that we really should think about and ask a lot of questions, you know. So if you have any questions, I'm here for you. I don't have a video on mixing ratios, but I do have. Now, what the good thing is, and I'm sure you you know about my ink mixtures, and that's what I do. It's all pre-mixed for you, and it's really makes life a lot easier. And I'll pull up the link for you, my friend. Here is the link, and I actually give you 5 of them. And the good thing about it is that it comes to like $4 a bottle, and that's really not bad. So actually less than $4 a bottle. So there's the link, and it's only $16.95. Shipping's only $5, and it's all mixed for you. It really is fantastic. Steve says, Tim, they should offer the Tim conversion kit. That would be nice, right? You know, I put the Sotar handle on there. Oh, why I put the Sotar handle on there? Because I need to get to that needle in fast, right? If I want to, you know, blow out the ink real fast, I do that. Also, it's lighter and more balanced. And like I said, as you get more proficient, more hours into the airbrush, you're not going to worry about dropping it. So that's why I don't really care about it, you know. Thank you, Lee. I appreciate that. So, Mark, if you get a chance, check them out. And, Mark, if you get it tonight, I'll make sure it goes out tomorrow. How's that? I'll give you concierge service, my friend. So much appreciated, Mark. I sent out 3 orders this week. I always make them to order. So if I get 3 orders, I make 3 orders. And they're all pre-mixed, and you just go from the light medium to the dark mixture. No worries about anything like that, you know. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. I will talk about that with Ken. Let's see what he has to say. Great ideas, guys. And I like moving around, as you can see. And so right here is a little bit of detail here. I'm going to stay a good 1.5 inches from the surface, but her fulcrum right here is a little pronounced. And also, it's dark over here by her on the outside of her nostril, but it really has a nice fade into this mid-tone. And so I'm just going to keep increasing my distance as I go further out. And you see that, and then this is going to just, you want to really feel Salma Hayek. I know that's not exactly what you want to do, but you want to feel her in 3 dimensions. You want to envision her, and you want to say, okay, that cheekbone is going in. So let's just envision that cheekbone and just have it turn away from the light source. And we're just going to, now it turns this way and this way, right? So it's a very interesting shape. Looking at the light source, it looks like, when I'm looking at this picture of Salma, she has a backlighting situation, and the lighting coming from straight above. So that kind of makes things a little bit more interesting. It's not your classical Rembrandt lighting, but still you want to feel that lighting. And take your time when you're modeling the form. Right now I'm in the medium mixture. No, I'm in the light mixture again because I wanted to do some more subtle lighting. Oh sure, let me zoom in on the eyes for you. So how's that, my friend? As you can see how everything is very... Oh, perfect! Oh, great, Mark. I will make them tonight before I go to bed, and they'll ship out in the morning. We'll get them out to you ASAP. And I always test the mixtures that I make every time, you know? And so yes, I'm back to the light mixture again because I really want to slowly model the form here on her zygomatic arch, or in layman's term, the cheekbone. And I'll zoom down a bit. So as you can see, things are very loose in the beginning, but I get tighter, and once we come in with that dark mixture, that's when things really start to hum a little bit. But you see, like when we're in shadow, we are not getting involved in contrast. Remember, in the light, things are more like screams. In the shadow, things are more like whispers. So case in point, so look at the zygomatic arch here. So I'm not just concerned with getting this shape, and that would be easy if that was my only concern. But I'm also concerned with how this dark shape actually relates to the lighter shape just adjacent to it. So consider this Italy, and then consider this the neighboring country. What's next to Italy? What's right above Italy, guys? My geography escapes me. So let's go something I do know. So let's say this is Germany and this is Poland. So they have definite borders. And so you, even though you're painting Poland, you want to make sure that you get the border correct. So Lee says, how do you know when to swap over from light to medium to dark? Well, the trick is you want to get to the point where you did as much detail with the light mixture, and you want to get darker, and that's when you realize that it's time to go into the medium mixture. When you go to the medium mixture and you get to the point where all the details are looking pretty good, but still there's a light contrast, then you go in with the dark mixture, and that's where you really get those popping dark accents, like in the pupils, the nostril area. And what that does, it makes the medium mixture much lighter, and then the light mixture much lighter, and then you darken up everything for that, and then comes the light pastel. Oh, Austria and Switzerland. Okay, thank you, my friends. That's very good. So just above Italy is Switzerland, I think. Wow, forgive my ignorance on that, guys. That's my fault. I love Europe, even though my lack of European geography doesn't indicate that. And I'm just going to get that dark as it comes in here. So you see, it's not just getting this darker value of the zygomatic arch, but it's also making sure you get that shape correct of the adjacent value. So, you know, it's not just a dark blob. Think of it, it's the state of Michigan, you know? And the state of Michigan has a very amorphous type of shape, but a definite shape nonetheless. And that's what you really want to look for. Hey Todd, good to see you, my friend. How's everything? Ah, thanks. You know, thank you so much. And I gotta get a globe, right? Lee and Bill, so that would really help. Oh, all of New Zealand. You would get all those New Zealanders angry at you, right? So what do they, isn't there a word, like a good word, what New Zealanders call themselves? I know Australians call themselves Aussies, right? You guys are very forgiving. Thank you. I appreciate that. While we're here, let's go ahead and work on her beautiful lips. See, if Salma was listening, she would hear all the wonderful comments I'm giving her. And then she would just be moved to buy my paintings. Oh, how I dream. Just doing some of those little details of her lips there. Get the direction of where these little wrinkles go in her lips. Remember the puddling, right? I'm going to go back to the medium mixture. Always calibrate the airbrush before you go ahead and put that onto your painting. There we go. And we have this nice dark. So I'm back in the medium mixture. Remember the puddle analogy. So you don't want to stay in one area too long. And then we can darken this area of her hair. And let's zoom out again. Oh, Mark, yes, my good question. As far as PSI, on the compressor I'm at 25, and I have the MAC valve on both airbrushes. I lower that, and then I micro adjust with this little pack valve. So it's really pretty cool. So I get exactly what I like. 23 states of America. I think it's 24, Bill. New Zealand is west of Michigan. I think it's west and then south, about 5,000 miles or so. That's funny. You guys are trying to make me feel better. I appreciate that. How's life in San Diego there, Todd? Oh, thanks. So Lee says she's coming alive, and you know I appreciate that, sir. So back at the medium mixture, I can just do another coat, so to speak, here in her eyes. And darken up some areas that need darkening up. And so once we work on her eyes, and you see we darken her eyes up a little bit, we definitely can start to realize that other areas need to be darkened up as well. Now I'm not going to bore you by working on the hair. So we're going to work mostly on the face today. And I'll work on the hair a little bit off screen there. During the week. I'm going to work on the hair during the week. Those who are Patreon members can, I'll put that up on the Patreon site so you can see how I would do complex hair like this. It was a little time consuming, you know, that's for sure. Now, is it easy to clean? The airbrush? Yes. The India inks, I actually clean with just water and Q-tips. That's it. No Windex or anything like that. It's very simple. The trick is just get to it as soon as you're done airbrushing for the day. And my airbrushes are, you know, they work very well. The upkeep is very easy, but you just have to keep up on it, like anything, you know. Let's see. Steve says he was looking at my Lady Gaga painting the other day and remembering that feed, just as this one, and all the work, really, the ugly stage is so a part of the end results. It really is, you know. The patience is really so important, Steve. Without the patience, it doesn't work. And because when I say it doesn't work, because if I was to worry about it looking like her in the early stages, or, you know, have that feeling, oh, it's not looking right, then I'm not sticking with the plan, right? And we have to stick with the game plan. You know, like football, you know, stick with the running game. The running game doesn't work in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're passing on first and second down. Well, the whole game plan was the running game works on all four quarters because it beats down the defensive line and everything like that. So the same is true, is that you stick with the game plan, and then like clockwork, you know, it comes together. But the game plan is something that, you know, is sort of invented over time, not this like, you know, light bulb that went off. And no, it's a tried and true technique that works. And that's why, very true, Steve, we can't get sidetracked of how it looks in the early going or the mid going, you know. We have to just continue. Now, I do see one of the things that you want to do, and yes, you need to believe that's so true. Well, I find that hard to believe, Steve. I think your work looks great at all stages. And Lee says the ugly stage is where a lot of people give up and they don't. Exactly. You got to stick with that, just like that running game in football, right? You have to make sure you stick with it. Even though it's not working in the first quarter, you stick with it because it's all four quarters that it comes together. So think of it like that, and that really helps. One thing I like to do, and I know that people who watch my live streams over and over always hear me say a lot, is that when you close your eyes and then look at your painting, whatever stands out has to go. So right here I can see that there was a little dark there. So whatever stands out has to go because it's out of balance. So you want balance. And that's what we're looking for in the early going. We're looking for balance. We're looking for the large shapes. We're looking for the edges. Yes, we have to believe in that process. It's so true. And so going back in with my, let's see if I have. Go back in with the medium mixture. Let's darken this eyebrow here, her beautiful eyebrow. And then over here, a little bit dark. So I'm looking at dark shapes within the larger shapes right now. I'm not looking for a finish. I'm just looking for an impression at this point. See that? just an impression. And right here we're just going to work on the dark of her hair as it just curls down. Sometimes I like to do this stuff freehand because it is hair on her face and I like the soft edge. I don't want it too hard edge, because when you do that it becomes more about her hair. Go. And we're just going to work in her hair as it comes down. And it's lighter, but I'm going to resolve that light area, but I can't paint that in just yet. But I do want that overspray in here. That's going to help us. And this is much darker here. Let me establish this dark a little bit more. And we're going to do our perpendicular and not parallel. There we go. Now, one of the reasons why I work in ink, why does Tim work in India ink, and why do I believe in it? Because so many people have had such trouble. Now, I have been successful working with acrylic, and that's not why I'm doing it, because I struggled with the acrylic in the beginning, and it's a really huge learning curve, and I know all of you would agree, those who are established acrylic painters in Airbrush, that there's a lot of clogging, tip dry, splattering, just a lot of things going on with the acrylic. And I'm not knocking acrylic, but this is why I moved over to India ink. I used to do India ink underpaintings in Airbrush, basically explicitly for my pastel paintings. I would do beautiful black and white underpaintings and go over it with pastel, and I would have a great foundation to work under. But one day I said to myself, I really enjoy airbrushing, so why don't I just explore it? So then I went into different mediums, different brands like Createx, Comart, and then I settled into Golden. So once I settled into Golden, I was doing really good. But I used to do these drawings on the train using tinted paper with white pastel and graphite. Then I said to myself, what if I use that technique, but instead of graphite, I used the ink that I did for the underpaintings, and that's where this technique was born. Why I started doing live streams and everything like that, because I found I didn't have a problem with any kind of mediums, you know? I didn't have things such as reducers or gel mediums or extenders. It was just the ink that came out of the bottle, and there was no tip dry, there was no issues with viscosity, because ink is what the airbrush was made for, inks and dyes. So it really is a lot of fun to work with, and I think it's a wonderful way for people who want to get a handle on the airbrush, who have been working with airbrush, you know, and also newbies, but to really enjoy the airbrush and learn about it. And you will learn about the airbrush. You'll learn about air pressure and distance, and you'll learn about control. So that's why I've been doing these, because I had so many people, both, oh yes, so the, Steve's talking about Dr. P.H. Martin, which is fantastic. And both people who have been airbrushing for, you know, years, who have used my inks, and they said they really enjoy it. It's like having a little vacation from, you know, the headaches of acrylic. And also, a lot of the people who were starting out saying they were ready to draw out their airbrush, but these inks really just made everything come to life for them. And that was, to me, that's what made it really worth it. And all of a sudden I felt really great about that. That I'm doing something that is helping people to enjoy their airbrush. And to me, that is really makes me happy. And that's why I continue doing live streams with the India ink, selling the India inks, because I love hearing the success stories. Because you guys all bought those airbrushes for a reason. Because they're really exciting, they're fun tools, and you can just do amazing blends and everything, Brad says he's a newbie and he thinks he's doing amazing with the ink mixtures. Brad's blowing my mind. He's just incredible. And Lee says when he started in the mid-'80s, he used to spray cans, and wow, and into the lids, and then tipped into his airbrush. It was a learning curve in those days. No internet, no books. That probably was a very interesting technique, Wow, that's pretty cool there, Lee. So yeah, self-taught is good because you don't have anyone telling you it's wrong and you just do some real innovative things. So I want to make sure I protect her beautiful chin here. And we just, now, okay, so you see here, you can see that sometimes when you use a freehand shield, the freehand shield lifts up, and when you spray, it's caused the paint or ink's going to get underneath it. So when that happens, you just tilt up the freehand shield a little bit like that, and you see it no longer does that. Just tilt it up just a little bit, and that solves the problem. I'm going to move on over to the light mixture. And what we're going to do is we're just going to do some of these micro details here. Remember the 1 second rule. You're going to look before you paint. A lot harder to make a mistake if you're looking before you paint. And what we're doing is these little wrinkles that we all have on our neck. Just like that. It's a very light detail. That's going to be obscured even further when we go darker. There we go. Oh, Bill says he waited till it was the internet and just got a lot of bad advice. Uh-oh, that's not good. And Steve Leahy says, thank goodness for Duvero's book. Yeah, that's a great book, that's for sure. Yes, proper airbrush. Before that, there was no... So tell me guys, you guys who are in the airbrush for many years, what paint was available for airbrush? Or did you have to mix your own? Because now we have several brands. Oh yeah, Raju's book. I think eBay is probably your best bet, Bill. I would definitely say. There's a book out there called the Airbrush Encyclopedia. That's really fantastic. See if you can find that one. So there is a dark, which is a cast shadow on Salma's nose that is cast from her hair. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on the negative shape. And let's blow that up. There we go. And we'll move down just a little bit. We got a little bit of the spidering there, but that's neither here nor there. That will go away in time. And like I said, it's early in the game, and most anything that you see here is going to be covered. And what you see when you blow up, you don't see with the naked eye. So you see that cast shadow? So that's a cast shadow right here. And it's lighter than the hair that's creating the cast shadow. Right? So we'll make that distinction. But after that is a form shadow. Form shadow and cast shadow are different. Form shadow is the actual form of her nose that's reacting to the light as it goes away and towards the light source. That's called form shadow. That's the same thing as an egg on a kitchen table. And so cast shadow is when one object is in front of the light and casts the shadow of itself onto another object. And so we want to really know the difference between those two shadows, because those two types of shadows, because they do react differently and they have different properties. And then when we zoom out, you'll see that it starts to look right. And you don't even see that spidering that was there, but we'll take care of it. But like, it's really not there with the naked eye. And this is a very small painting. This is not big. This is only 8.5 by 11. I'm going to darken down with my light mixture. I'm going to go perpendicular and not parallel. We're just going to darken down our neck area, because the neck area is going back into space and her chin is coming forward, and that's how we create depth and dimension and really feel Salma in that three-dimensional space. Okay, now there's a beautiful dark right over here, so I don't want to get the overspray on her chin, and I'm going to establish the dark. I'm going to lift the freehand shield just a bit. There we go. And you see that dark there is really going to establish some of the, oh, look at that, trumpet noises. Okay. There we go. So you see, little by little, Salma's going to come together, but I'm not worried about it. It's going to happen. I'm just going to stick with the game plan, right? And you can see it looks like Salma, you know. And let's see. So Bill says it's an absorb. Oh, great for gesso board and papers. Okay. Lacquer paint, I see. And Bill, haven't used ComArt for years. Remember, I used ComArt. That was one of the first paints I started with. Steve, and Bill, didn't it have a really weird smell? It smelled like mildew or something. But whatever it smelled like, it wasn't healthy. So, and I didn't like the fact that there were so many different things I didn't like about ComArt. And I'm not too sure about their archival qualities, that's for sure. Lacquer paint, look at that. Let's see over here. Oh, you paint with ComArt today? Oh, okay, good, good. Does it still have that really weird smell? I love working on gesso board, Bill, and I make my own with my marble dust and mixture. E-Tac FX smells nice. Not sure sniffing too much is good for you. One thing I liked about ComArt is they had a photographic grays that come with like a raw sienna. They still sell them? Because that was pretty good when you were doing black and white. So I really enjoyed that. But like I said, the smell of the com art really was troubling. So look at that, we're in the last 8 minutes. So this was sort of an abbreviated live stream today. Sorry about that. But now I'll just make sure that I don't trust the new YouTube studio because it's really bad. So those who are live streamers like Bill and Steve, just be wary of that. Definitely use the classic for the live stream. I'm going to write them and hopefully they'll address the situation because, you know, this is something that, you know, you guys look forward to. And when I'm late with it, it's a bad reflection on me. And that's, you remember seeing Jorick way back and being sold on the whole line. Oh, is that the whole ComArt line or ETAC FX? Now, I think Marissa uses ETAC, if I'm not mistaken. Is that true, guys? I'm going to continue darkening her hair here in this little triangle. See, looking at the lightest light here and over here, I can see how much darker this is. So I'm going to be about 3.5 inches. I'm going to darken that whole area down. And over here too, I'm just going to darken this whole area down here. It's really dark in comparison to the light area. It looks light because of simultaneous contrast of you know, the dark next to it, but we're going to darken that down significantly. And then when we come in and darken this hair, everything's going to darken down. So that's why, you know, we'll know when to come, you know, full with the medium mixture and then do the 2 airbrush for the medium and the dark, and then we'll really start kicking with gas. So Marissa has switched. She has her own line with ETAC. Wow. Oh, she's changed to golden and schminky. I like golden. They're really good, and because they're mediums and you can use them with their heavy bodied and everything, all their acrylics have the same DNA. So I used to work with the fluid acrylics before I went into inks, of course. Jordan had a textile line from Medea ComArt, was the illustration line. Look at that, that's pretty cool. Use the trans black, no issues, very cool. Okay, transparent black, okay, cool, very cool. Going to work on some of these large dark areas here. Very low contrast here. Calm down that contrast over here. But I'm really happy with how she's turning out, very slowly but surely. And it's clean, right? And that's what you want. You want your, okay, so that's one of the really good things of my technique of working with the inks, that it's a very clean progression. And, oh wow, thank you, Steve, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I think my work is getting a little tighter, and I don't want to get too tight, so I might do some things to start loosening up a little bit in the coming weeks. So that's one of the things that I'm kind of weary of, is getting too tight. Steve Leahy says he loved golden because the colors in the airbrush line had exact matches in the fluid and the tube. Very true, same DNA, and it's very easy. And one of the things I like is that it's very cool when you are working with golden, is that you can put some really dark or impasto with it, which is really fantastic, and I love that part. Oh, so what is it that you're not using, Bill? Let's see, what did Bill say? Oh, you use Createx because you switch between metal, canvas, and synthetics. Okay. Oh, thanks, Steve. She's going to be a... Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you for your vote of confidence, my friend. With Salma. Let's try and get Salma Hayek to see it. Wouldn't that be great? And her husband has a lot of money, so that would be good. He can get that for her as a gift. Hint, hint, right? So that's what we got to do. Oh, okay, so you're a fan of Createx. That's cool. That's cool, Bill. Look at that. We're at 11:28. I can't believe it. So it went by pretty quick. Thank you, Lee. Lee says she'd be stoked to see it. Well, that's great to hear. And Brad says looking great. He says I'm a hard man to keep up with. Well, you're doing some great work yourself there, Brad. And also, we just got to make sure that we get rid of any borders that we kind of made up. You know, we always try to make up borders to differentiate one value to one shape to the next, like a nose should have a full nose and the mouth, but sometimes those features bleed into one another and there aren't any distinct borders. So that's one of the things we have to watch for our own preconceived notion of what a nose and eye should look. Hey Todd, thank you so much. I appreciate that, my friend. Little by little we'll get there, right? We're not going to get emotional on how it looks right now because it's only the end. It's not how you start, it's how you end. Well, it's how you start, how you do in the beginning, how you end, but it's how it ends is most important. But he would definitely say it's the best paint. It's just versatile. I understand, definitely, the versatility of Createx. Oh, Steve says he loves using my ink because the paintings look like vintage photographs or old pencil drawings. It really has a fine art look, doesn't it, Steve? Thank you for saying that. And I think it does have that real, definitely. I'll make you a fresh set when you're ready, and I'll get that out to you right away, Bill. You let me know, no rush. No pressure sales here. But thank you for saying that, Bill. I really appreciate that. So Lee has a set. He's trying his soon when his room is usable. Take your time. And I can't wait to see what you do with them. Some incredible stuff. Oh, you got some Canson on the shelf. Make sure it's the color line paper. And it's color line, and it's a 184-pound pebble gray. You really need that thickness, and always use the smoother side, and that helps you out. So guys, it's 11:30. Thanks for following me around the internet till you finally found me. So sorry about the mix-up with the YouTube studio. And so Bill's got the right one. That's great. Chris, have a good night. Take care. Always a pleasure. And oh, a master of beautiful women. If only they would talk to me, Chris. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are all fantastic. Thanks, Steve, everybody. You make my Wednesday nights great. And I look forward to Wednesday night all week long. And, you know, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for people watching this over the recorded version. I'm going to leave up on Facebook. And you mean a lot to me. And Andre, good to see you tonight. Take care, everybody.